Hey, what's going on guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Right, we're going to do part, I think it's 3 actually, or 3 or 4 on the 6-foot Paludarium. As you can see now, I have changed that weeper line for a little spray system, okay, which is going around there. We'll have a little close up of that in a minute. And I've been down the woods, or up in my garden I should say, and I've just picked out loads and loads of bits of moss from out of the ground and off the bases of trees and things, on the very shaded side of the trees, so they're not really high dependent on light, which we haven't got a lot of in here. I've got a big strip light running through here at the moment, which I'm going to take that out and put some grow lamps in, and then put some angular foils and hang the light slightly so it shines down that way, okay. But what we've got so far is this little spray line now. Now that's going to go along there. I'm going to hook the moss all the way around different areas and drape it over. You'll see as we go along. I've just put little twigs in here and there. We're filling up with water at the moment, okay, just to give the tank its last little clean out of all the little bits of debris and things around the base. Everything's going well so far. That's the only thing I've had to change was these little spray units, which you can turn these to either a drip or to a mist, and I'll show you that in action a little bit later on. Now the pump's a little bit noisy on that. It works from a little pump there, you see, and that goes straight into a 12-volt little adapter there, which goes straight into the mains, and you can put that on a timer. So what I'm going to do is every sort of couple of hours I'm going to have it on for a few minutes, just to soak everything and keep everything moist and growing nicely, okay. So that's what we're going to be doing at the moment. But it's quite a cool little thing, little 12-volt pump there. Like I said, it's a little bit noisy, but basically it picks up the water from your aquarium from that, pumps it through there, all the way up around there, through every one of those spray nozzles, and it'll keep everything nice and damp. Now the reason why I textured all this like this was because the moss is now going to creep onto that and grab onto it. Everything's sealed inside. That's just the return line, which I'm going to bury under the media inside here. And so I think what we should do, I've siliconed everything in now. I know I've got some garden tube there because I'm a little bit stuck for piping, but that's going to all be camouflaged later on. Now that pump pumps it up into this trough at the back here, and that little pump there is pumping it up into that. Now it's going to fill this entire chamber up here, which I'm going to fill up with some biohome media, and it's going to float across from that way, and it's going to, water's going to come from that way, and it's going to cascade out of here as well. And that's all going to have little bits of moss and stones on and things as we go along. Right, there you go guys. Before I do any more with the mosses, I thought what I'd do is I'd just let you see it running without anything on with the mosses and things. You can see now both of those pumps, one each side. Sorry, this tank's slightly in the way, pretty limited for space, as you know, in my little workshop, but they're both pumping up. They're going to fill that trough up as they are, and they're going to just spill over like that nicely. I've got a dripper which is rigged up on there as well. I'll just get that going so you can see that. I've got 2 drippers on there now, sorry. I've got the sprayer, but I've also made a small airline one up, and I've just melted some very small holes through it, and I'll turn that on now so you can see how that works. Okay guys, there you go. Dripper's working nicely now. You can just see it dripping off all of the little edges, and I've just literally wound the airline all the way around here, and it goes right up to the top over onto the other side. Now I've got it turned down at the moment. I'm going to start putting on the moss in a moment and pegging it in place. Now I've made some little stainless steel pins up. I've got a few down here which I've made up. I don't know if you can see those there. Just stainless steel little strips. Now what I use that for is to plug, sometimes when I'm doing corals, I'll pin them together with the stainless steel, because obviously it doesn't decay underwater and won't pollute your tank. So that's what we're going to do. So that's all done. It's all dripping away nicely. So now I think we should get some speedy light going on. I've got a bucket full of moss, I've got some logs. So let's make this thing look nice and tidy. Oh well, that was great fun. Really enjoyed doing that, guys. And for one of my subscribers, they said put a little kingfisher in there. So there you go, little tiny kingfisher looking down into the water. I thought I'd add that. Might move it around, put a little branch out for him there. And we've put some other ferns in there now. Now my camera ran out, so it's all the super speedy footage, guys. It didn't complete it all, but as you can see now, I've got some different types of ferns in the back there in the top of the log. Now what I've done is I've put some polythene in the bag, like a little bag inside. It's hollow in the middle, and I filled it up with some ground where they came from. They've got good root bowls on them, and I've planted them in there. And we've got that little section over in the corner there where we can flood with water and put some different plants in there as well. Now if you look around the sides, I've put some of that, some ivy, some trailing ivy around there as well. Now that's not real, that's just a bit of fake stuff, but that's just to hide the sockets and keep everything out of the way. I might trim that little bit off the edge there, or I might leave it hang down. Let me know what you think as well. It's nice you guys keeping in the loop as well and giving me some ideas. The moss is looking awesome, different colours of mosses, different types of mosses we've got cover in there. And I picked these guys from a very, very shaded area, okay, because obviously it's going to be very low light conditions in here, and you'll find if you take stuff which is in sunlight, it's just going to be used to that sunlight. So if you're going to replicate this in a smaller way, try and get the stuff from little shaded spots, okay, where it hardly ever even sees the sun, just the daylight flooding in, not even dappled light. So that was against the wall, it was drawing on a wall up in the garden, so I've taken some of that away. It soon grows back over here in Wales. As you guys know, moss grows like crazy over here. So so everything's done. I've still got to rig up another tube at the back there, get some drips coming down off that end, but I can do that super easy at another date. Now if you noticed, I was putting it on with the drips coming in, and that just gave me an idea where I wanted to place different colours of mosses to get a nice drip. You can see the walls very, very slowly dripping, and that's the effect that I wanted. I didn't want too much of a cascade. Even in the area there, I put a lovely big piece in there as well, so as you can see it's just dripping in and just mimicking that little tumbling stream coming out of there. Now what I've got to do now is put some media in the back. Now I'm going to put alpha grog in the back, and I've got a little bit of biohome left as well, so that's going to go in the back as well. And that's just a big trough behind there, guys, as you saw before, pumping up each side and then overflowing into there as well. So I'm just going to put some of that in there. As you can see, I've put some sand in there as well, just normal riverbed sand. Haven't paid anything for that. Lots of it down there, little banks in amongst the rivers, especially now in Wales because it's hot and that river level has dropped right away, and that actually does just make a few sandbanks just come up, and it's millions of tons of the stuff down there, and a little bit going missing here and there is not going to hurt. So that's in there. There's lots of leaves and different things in there at the moment because it's all been dropping in, coming up out the filter. And but what I've done now is, while I was down there, and if you can see, I'll just turn you down there, we've got two big buckets of pebbles, and I wanted to replicate the river by me, so it's all pebbles. I've got some bigger ones, smaller ones, we're just going to put those in. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to fill it up, rinse it out a couple of times, and then we're just going to let it settle now for probably a couple of weeks, because people have been on about it and they've been saying about, oh, you're going to have problems with pH and all that kind of stuff. Now as you can see, there's none in the tank as such, everything's up there. Pardon me, everything's up there, so it's going to very, very slowly leach out with the drips that are coming down, but we're going to be doing big water changes over the next couple of weeks, I would say, so that's going to reduce that. And obviously I'm going to be doing pH checks constantly while this is all settling in before we put anything in there, and it colonizes, and we've got to get it filtering, getting all that biological action kicking into gear before we put any little inhabitants in there, because we've got to cycle it first. So anyway guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call this one a day for today, and I think I'll get back to you next time, and what we'll do is I'll put all the stones in, we'll work that out where they're going to go, what sort of flow pattern that I'm going to put in there. What I have got, which I've put in there, actually I'll take you out of the tripod and take you with me a minute. There you go, that's a little bit better. Now you can see all the drips that are just coming down along the wall face there. Now that's all you want, because the moss is going to absorb that It's going to work its way around, find other little avenues to come down. Hello. And as you can see, it's dripping all over the place. Just nice little drips, that's what we want. But those ferns look absolutely beautiful. You can see the leaves and all that carry on at the bottom there, which I've got to get out. And that's the different types of colour in the sand. I want to keep it as natural as possible. Got that lovely log in there, which I've had in so many tanks. I must have had that for 15 years, I would have thought. A lovely big piece of oak stump. Now that is the power heads. Now they're marine power heads. Now I've got one there, and I'm not sure if you can see through the back, there's another one there. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to throw a big current across this way. And it's going to act like a river and just keep that nice current going. So I'm not sure we're going to put in there, but we're going to go down to my local river Taff. And we're going to hook out a few little minnows and things, I think, to go in here. See what else I can catch. Maybe a little gudgeon or two. Maybe a little brown trout would be nice. Just meandering around in the current. But that's going to look absolutely fantastic. I'm really enjoying doing this build. I know it's been a little bit hectic in between videos and a little bit of time has lapsed in between videos. But it's one of them things, you know, just getting it all done, getting everything right, getting things ready. And the weather's been against me, you know, the last few days with heavy rain and stuff. So, but we're getting there, guys. We're slowly getting there. And when it's all together, I think it's going to look pretty damn good. And when that moss starts creeping around and growing, we can start trimming it back and putting it in different places. What I want to do is try and get, as you can see, the water's in the back there, see? And it's basically straining through the moss. Those are the pumps I've used. Got one there. And 6 feet away, we've got another little one there. I've got to put a sponge on the end of those as well, to stop obviously little guys getting sucked in there. We don't want any of that going on. But yes, starting to look nice. I'm happy with it so far. And with this strip light, I think that's all I'm going to need, to be honest, for lighting for this. Just leave that on. It's just a double strip lamp up on the top, but that's going to keep that growing lovely, I think. Here's all the stones I've got down there, like I just showed you. Bigger ones in there, smaller ones in there. So we can create some kind of scape. Now what I wouldn't mind doing is going down to the river and catching, obviously like I said, a few little minnows and things, but I want to get some of that streamer weed. I don't know if you've seen it in rivers. It just, you sort of see it there and it just wobbles down in the tide and the current of the river. And I know where some of that stuff is, but I think I might have to get wet to get some. So that's going to be interesting. But I know that needs a lot of light, so I'm going to have to do some research on that. So I wouldn't mind putting some plants in there. May put a lily in there. That may be enough light for that. Or even set up one little lamp above, up here somewhere on the roof, just so it goes over the lily and gives it a little bit more light. But that's all thought for later on. Things we can do as we progress with this build. Anyway, let me know how you what you think of it so far. Any likes, any dislikes, it's always nice to know, good or bad. Thumbs up or thumbs down, doesn't worry me at all. And it'd be nice to hear any input really. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it for that one for today, guys. Hope you're all safe, hope you're all well. Stay indoors, and as always, you're all stars. Love you loads, take care, and I'll see you on the next edition of Mark's Aquatics. Bye for now.